The celebration was supposed to be harmless. It's just a few laughs, a few drinks, and a moment of peace after a dangerous mission. The alien soldier lifted the glass, just like the humans did, and swallowed the burning liquid without a second thought. But minutes later, her body began to feel wrong. Her head throbbed, her skin burned. Every nerve in her body screamed in pain and confusion. She collapsed as the room spun around her. That innocent drink, that simple moment of fun, had just triggered a terrifying biological reaction that would change everything. If this reaction is not stopped in time, she could lose control of her own body in front of the entire crew. The condition could grow worse by the minute, pushing her toward complete physical collapse, or even death. She is far from her home world, surrounded by humans who do not fully understand her alien biology. If she fails to find a solution, she risks not only her life, but her honor, her mission, and the trust of everyone around her. She woke up in the ship's medical room with bright lights above her and pain still burning through her body. The doctor stood beside her with a worried look on his face. He told her the alcohol had reacted badly with the performance serum inside her blood. What worked safely in humans was tearing through her alien system in a dangerous way. Her heart raced as fear settled deep in her chest. She could feel heat spreading through her body, growing stronger with every breath. The doctor warned her that the condition could get much worse if she did not treat it soon. But the only real way to stop it was something she could not bring herself to accept. Shame crushed her. She was the only one of her kind on this ship. She could not let anyone see her like this. When the doctor stepped away, she forced herself out of the bed, weak and shaking, and quietly made her way back to her private room. She locked the door behind her and leaned against it, breathing hard, praying no one had seen her. Alone in the quiet darkness, the strange fire inside her only burned hotter. She realized hiding this problem might not be as easy as she hoped. Not long after she reached her room, there was a soft knock at the door. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. A familiar voice called her name. It was the captain. Somehow he already knew something was wrong. She wanted to send him away. She wanted to hide until this nightmare passed. But her hands were shaking, her thoughts were tangled, and fear made her careless. Before she could stop herself, she opened the door. The captain took one look at her pale face and unsteady stance, and his concern deepened. He asked her what was happening, and she tried to explain, stumbling over her words. The strange reaction inside her body was no longer just her burden. Now it had pulled the one person she trusted most directly into the danger with her. That moment, the problem was no longer only physical. It became emotional, complicated, and impossible to face alone. For a short time, it seemed like things were finally under control. The pain inside her body eased just enough for her to breathe again. The burning faded into a dull ache, and the shaking in her hands slowly stopped. The ship returned to its normal rhythm, and no alarms were raised. The crew went back to their duties, unaware of how close they had come to disaster. Even she began to believe that the worst had passed. She rested in her room, gathering her strength, telling herself that the danger was behind her. But deep down, something still felt wrong. The strange warmth in her chest never fully disappeared. It lingered like a quiet warning, waiting for the right moment to return. The warning signs came quietly at first. One crew member reported feeling dizzy. Another complained of strange heat under their skin. Then someone collapsed in the hallway. The medical room filled faster than the doctors could handle. That was when the truth became impossible to ignore. Whatever had gone wrong inside her body was no longer only her problem. The reaction had spread through the ship. Fear moved faster than the alarms. Whispers filled the corridors. The crew was no longer just worried about one sick soldier. They were facing a crisis that threatened everyone on board. And the worst part was, this no one yet knew how to stop it. As the chaos spread through the ship, she realized the truth. She had been trying to avoid. This disaster had started with her. Even if she had not meant for it to happen, the danger had passed through her body first. Guilt pressed down on her chest like a heavy weight. People were suffering, and it was because of what was inside her blood. She went back to the medical room and looked the doctor in the eyes. Her voice was steady, even though her heart was breaking. She told him to put her into a deep medical sleep. If she was unconscious, she could not harm anyone else. If her body could not act, the spread might finally stop. The doctor argued with her, warning her of the risks, but she did not back down. This was her responsibility. As the needle touched her skin, fear washed over her, but she did not move. The last thing she saw before the darkness took her was the worried face of the captain, and the silent promise in her own heart that she would make this right, no matter the cost. When she finally opened her eyes again, everything felt slow and heavy, as if time itself had been stretched thin. The lights above her were dim, and the room was silent in a way that felt wrong. The doctor rushed to her side, his face worn with exhaustion. He told her the truth in a quiet voice. She had been unconscious for weeks. During that time, the strange reaction had not stopped. It had spread through most of the ship. Many of the crew were no longer thinking clearly. Fear, confusion, and chaos had taken over their minds. The ship was still moving through space, but control was slipping away. As she listened, her chest tightened with dread. She had gone to sleep hoping the nightmare would end. Instead, she had awakened inside something far worse. The doctor told her there was only one option left, a dangerous one. He had been studying the original serum that caused the reaction in the first place. His theory was risky, but it was their last hope. If they reintroduced a purified version of the original serum into her system, it might reset the mutation and stop the chain reaction spreading through the crew. If it worked, they could then use it to cure everyone else. If it failed, it could destroy her body completely. She did not hesitate. She held out her arm and told the doctor to do it. The moment the serum entered her blood, pain surged through. Her veins like fire and ice at the same time. Her body arched as her breath caught in her throat. For a terrifying second, it felt like the nightmare was returning even stronger than before. Then, slowly, the pain began to fade. The heat eased. Her breathing steadied. The doctor leaned in close, watching every reading in silence. Then the numbers shifted. The reaction was stopping. The cure was working. For the first time since the nightmare began, hope returned to the ship. As the doctor prepared to use the cure on the rest of the crew, she asked the one question she had been avoiding since she woke up. She asked how the captain was doing. The room went quiet. The doctor hesitated before answering. Then he told her the truth. While the crew had been sick and confused, the condition had stripped away their self-control and revealed feelings they normally kept hidden. During that time, the captain had not been alone. Someone else had been close to him while she was unconscious. The words hit her harder than any pain she had felt in her body. Her chest tightened and her vision blurred. She understood, logically, that no one had truly been in control. But understanding did not stop the ache spreading through her heart. The physical danger was finally over, but now she faced a different kind of wound, one that could not be healed. With medicine, she found the captain sitting alone in his quiet room, his shoulders heavy with guilt. When he looked up and saw her standing there, relief filled his eyes. But it was quickly followed by shame. He apologized before she could even speak. He told her how he had lost control, how the sickness had twisted his thoughts, how he had hated himself for it every day since. She listened in silence, her hands shaking at her sides. The truth hurt more than she wanted to admit, but she could see the pain in his face was real. Finally, she spoke. She told him that what happened was not truly his choice, and that the sickness had stolen their will. Forgiveness did not come easily, but she chose it anyway. Not because it was simple, but because their bond was stronger than the mistake. When she stepped forward and placed her hand in his, he held it tightly, as if afraid she might disappear again. With the cure now ready, the doctor and his team moved quickly through the ship. One by one, the crew received the treatment. Slowly, the fear faded from their eyes. Confusion gave way to understanding. The chaos that had ruled the halls for weeks began to disappear. Systems returned to normal. Voices on the comms steadied. The ship felt alive again in the right way. There were moments of quiet embarrassment as people remembered what had happened while they were not in control, but there was also deep relief. They had survived something that could have destroyed them. For the first time in a long while, the ship felt safe, and this time the safety felt real. In the days that followed, life aboard the ship slowly returned to its familiar rhythm. The crisis became a memory, one the crew would never forget, but one that no longer controlled them. She and the captain walked the halls side by side again, not as two people hiding fear, but as two people who had faced it and survived. What they had lost could never be fully erased, but what they had rebuilt was stronger than before. Trust did not return overnight, yet with every shared look, every quiet conversation, and every small promise kept, their bond grew deeper. The ship continued its journey through the stars, carrying a crew that had been broken, tested, and healed. And together, they moved forward not because the universe was kind, but because they had learned how to face it as one.